History is not written in ink. It is carved in silence and buried in soil. For nearly 2 millennia, a chilling whisper has echoed through the annals of the Roman Empire, the fate of Legio IX Hispana, the Ninth Legion. Born in the crucible of Caesar's ambition, hardened across centuries of conquest, the Ninth marched beneath Rome's formidable banners from the sun-baked plains of Gaul to the mist-shrouded wilds of Britannia. And then, they were gone. Not a trace, no graves, no records, no glory, only a haunting void, a profound silence north of Hadrian's Wall. Until 2025, what began as a routine environmental scan over Scotland's ancient Cairngorm Mountains became the greatest archaeological revelation of the century. A story not of victory, but of betrayal. Not a mystery, a meticulously orchestrated cover-up. This is the harrowing tale of a legion erased, a secret buried deep, and the Earth's slow, deliberate confession. Prepare to journey into the heart of an imperial conspiracy where the past refuses to stay buried. The drone, a marvel of advanced ground-penetrating radar, didn't know what it had found. It simply returned data, a perfect, anomalous rectangle beneath layers of peat and ancient soil. Too clean, too exact, not a natural formation. This was the unmistakable signature of a Roman marching camp, the kind built in haste, under duress, a temporary fortress against an unseen enemy. 5,000 men, Rome's finest, could have stood within those spectral lines. The discovery sent ripples of excitement and trepidation through the archaeological community. Excavation teams, a blend of seasoned veterans and eager young minds, moved in with a sense of profound anticipation. What they uncovered chilled even the most stoic among them: shattered bronze shields, bent iron spears, fragments of hobnailed sandals still clasped to bone. Everything was scattered, violently dispersed. Nothing was buried with dignity. This wasn't merely an encampment. It was a tomb, a scene of utter devastation, frozen in time. Legio IX Hispana, Rome's hammer, formed in the dying embers of the Republic, this legion was baptized in the brutal fires of Caesar's Gallic Wars. These were not mere conscripts, they were professionals, veterans forged in fire, steel, and blood. Their discipline was legendary, their endurance unmatched. They crushed Iberian rebellions, held the Rhine against relentless Germanic onslaughts, and stormed Britannia under Emperor Claudius. Their eagle standard, a symbol of Rome's might, had flown victorious over countless battlefields. They were the empire's sharpest blade, a testament to Roman military supremacy. Yet, sometime between AD 117 and 120, that blade was lost. Not in a recorded battle, not officially, but in a profound, unsettling silence that has baffled historians for centuries. Roman records were meticulous, bureaucratic, obsessed with order and accountability. Every legion, every cohort, every man was accounted for. Yet, suddenly, the Ninth's name vanished from the official rolls. Stone monuments, once proudly bearing their inscriptions, skipped their mention. Military rosters, usually exhaustive, contained inexplicable blank spaces where the Ninth should have been. Even Hadrian's Wall, a monumental testament to Roman engineering built in the very region they once defended, makes no mention of their presence or fate. Rome simply does not forget its legions. Unless, of course, it desperately wants to. This glaring omission, this deafening silence, was not an oversight. It was a deliberate act, a historical erasure that screamed of a hidden truth. For centuries, scholars speculated wildly about the Ninth's disappearance. Were they wiped out in Judea during the Bar Kokhba revolt? Lost in the distant reaches of Armenia? Quietly disbanded and reassigned, their identity absorbed into other units? But the silence was too absolute, too deliberate for a simple military loss. Then came a darker, more sinister theory: damnatio memoriae. The condemnation of memory, Rome's ultimate punishment. Names chiseled from history, honors revoked, statues toppled, their very existence expunged from public record. This was a fate reserved for traitors, heretics, and enemies of the state. Could an entire legion, a symbol of Rome's might, suffer such a profound and humiliating fate? In 2025, the Earth itself began to answer, yes. The newly unearthed site was a nightmare of archaeological discovery. Trenches were dug in panic, ramparts thrown up without order, palisades misaligned. The meticulous precision of Roman engineering was abandoned for desperate, chaotic improvisation. This was not a stronghold designed for defense. This was a trap, a desperate, last-ditch attempt at survival. Worse still, beyond the hastily constructed camp, in the unforgiving bog, archaeologists found something that defied all expectation. Over 200 bodies, bound, kneeling, executed, not buried with honor, but discarded, left to the elements. And beneath them, a Roman eagle, the Ninth sacred standard, inverted, desecrated, surrounded by bones and scorched offerings. This wasn't a military loss. This was a ritual purge, a brutal, symbolic annihilation. Deep in the forgotten corners of the Vatican archives, a sequence of Senate scrolls from AD 117 to 125 began to clarify the horrifying truth. The ninth had not simply vanished. They had been sent. Whispers of unauthorized mobilization, a rogue deployment far north of Eboracum, the Roman stronghold in Britannia. No Senate approval, no treasury report. The legion had become politically dangerous. Loyal to the old guard, perhaps resistant to Emperor Hadrian's vision of retrenchment and consolidation, they were seen as a potential threat. Some feared their loyalties were shifting, blurring, perhaps even aligning with powerful auxiliary tribes. Hadrian, a pragmatic and ruthless emperor, needed a solution. Silent, permanent, send them into the Highlands. No support, no way out, and no survivors. The empire, in its paranoia, had turned on its own. Rome, in its arrogance, gravely underestimated the north. They saw only scattered tribes, barbaric and unorganized. They were catastrophically wrong. The Caledonians, fierce and unyielding, had united. Someone, a brilliant and ruthless leader, had forged them into a blade, a weapon sharp enough to cut through a Roman legion. The ninth wasn't merely defeated. They were hunted, encircled, systematically erased. Weapon fragments found at the site bore chilling druidic symbols. Bodies were mutilated with ritualistic precision. Tongues removed, limbs broken, skulls cracked in sacrificial formations. This wasn't merely war. This was an exorcism, a brutal act of spiritual cleansing. One inscription, carved into a standing stone near the site, chillingly read, "This is what we do to ghosts who trespass." The Caledonians didn't see the ninth as soldiers. They saw them as invaders from the underworld. And with terrifying efficiency, they sent them back. The revelation shocked the world. Historians scrambled to rewrite chapters, their long-held theories shattered by the grim reality unearthed in the Scottish peat. Museums redid exhibits, their speculative displays replaced with the harrowing facts. British textbooks, for generations filled with romanticized notions of the ninth's heroic last stand, now presented a far more brutal and cynical truth. Even modern military strategists and NATO analysts cited the ninth's fate in contemporary counterinsurgency briefings. The message was stark and clear: imperial power crumbles not only from external invasion. It crumbles from within, from paranoia, from betrayal. The Ninth Legion's demise became a chilling case study in the dangers of internal dissent and the ruthless lengths to which an empire will go to maintain its illusion of control. Their story, once a mystery, now served as a stark warning. The Ninth Legion didn't vanish. It was erased, not because it failed in battle, but because it threatened the illusion of imperial control. Its soldiers weren't killed by foreign enemies alone, they were sacrificed by the very empire they served, deemed expendable in a ruthless political maneuver. Now, nearly 2,000 years later, the Earth has finally told their story. Not of glory, but of a profound and tragic warning. Because sometimes, the fall of an empire doesn't begin with a thunderous war. It begins with a whisper of dissent, a chilling act of betrayal, and a profound, deliberate silence. The Ninth Legion's fate is a haunting echo from the past, a testament to the dark underbelly of power. The story of Rome's Ninth Legion is more than just an archaeological discovery. It is a chilling historical detective story, a testament to the enduring power of truth, no matter how deeply buried. For history buffs, military enthusiasts, archaeology fans, and those fascinated by ancient mysteries and conspiracies, this revelation reshapes our understanding of one of the greatest empires. Don't let this vital piece of history fade back into the shadows. Share this story with fellow history lovers, discuss the implications of imperial betrayal, and explore the ongoing archaeological efforts that continue to unearth our past. Subscribe to our channel for more deep dives into forgotten histories, hit the notification bell to stay updated, and leave a comment below with your theories on the Ninth Legion's fate. Your engagement helps us bring these incredible stories to light.